Hi, brothers and sisters. This is Bobby Quitain, and welcome to Pathways of Hope. Today, we want to reflect on the seventh chapter of the Gospel of John. And as I was reflecting on this Gospel, I can't help but recall a very famous contemporary Tagalog Filipino saying. It says, "Kapag gusto may paraan, kapag ayaw may dahilan." In English, if a person wants to, he can find a way. If he doesn't want to, he can find an excuse. Reading the gospel today, we see that the real issue here is the identity of Jesus. The people were divided as to whether to believe in him as the Messiah or to declare him as a fraud. Iba-iba po ang haka-haka ng mga tao. In fact, may nagsabi pa nga na it's impossible for him to be the Messiah because in the prophecy, the Messiah should come from Bethlehem, not Galilee. Even the Sanhedrin, the Pharisees, were divided. They didn't know what to make of Jesus. They wanted to arrest him, but they also knew that he was doing a lot of miracles. And he spoke like no one has ever done before. He spoke with much authority. And so the real issue there, if you look at the gospel today, is really the identity of Jesus. And we see here that for those people who believed, they were quick to convince themselves that he is the Messiah. And just like Nicodemus, even tried to sway in some way the Pharisees to give Jesus a chance. But for those who did not believe in him, they were really closed-minded. They didn't even want to hear Jesus. They just want to arrest him and put him to death and silence him for good. How does that apply to us today? Last night I was actually praying with Pope Francis at 1 a.m. He had this televised prayer in the Vatican, the St. Peter Square, for this pandemic that's happening in the world today. And I was struck with one of the things he said there, that this pandemic is not really the judgment of God. This is a time of judgment for ourselves. We need to make some decisions. We need to choose either we are for God or we are against him. And I realize, my dear friends, that in every crisis, in every difficulty that you go through, you always have two choices. Either you let the crisis push you away from God, or you let the crisis push you closer to him. And I want to challenge you today, my dear friend, as you listen to this video, search your heart. Where are you in terms of your relationship with God? This pandemic is like a moment of truth for many of us. This is a time for us to reflect on our lives and see, where am I in relation to God? And make some decisions. Make some decisions in our heart, either to turn to him or to turn away from him, either to move closer to him or walk away from him. This is a time of great judgment for ourselves. We make some decisions today. And my prayer for you, my friend, is that in every situation you find yourself in, not only in this pandemic, but in every situation you find yourself in, especially if it's a time of difficulty and challenge, do not let the difficulty push you away from God. Rather, let it push you closer to him. At the end of the day, it's really our choice. God already made a choice for us 2,000 years ago. Now we make the choice. Do we let this pandemic push us away from him? Or do we let this pandemic push us closer to him? I pray that you choose the latter. God bless you.